All right, hello and welcome to the Socially Unacceptable podcast. Today we're going to start by introducing everybody. I'm Connor. Today on our show we've got Chris. Want to say hi, Chris?
Hey.
We got Rory.
Hey, I'm Rory.
Garrett.
Hey there.
And we got Phil.
What's up, guys?
All right, so to start out, we're just going to kind of go through everybody, just kind of who we are, what we're about, what the podcast is going to be about, just kind of in general. So basically, we're all, I guess, a group of friends. We all kind of met in high school. Some of us a little bit before high school and middle school and whatnot. We just kind of had the idea to start up a podcast and just talk about things that we're interested in. As we're all mid or early 20s guys, that mostly revolves around sports, TV, music, movies, gaming, and then a little bit of politics, pop culture, and then just like some life things that we kind of have discovered in our extremely long lives, I guess. So I guess we want to kind of go around and say, I guess, a little bit about yourself. Does anybody want to start?
I'll go.
I feel like this is like the first day of class when you walk in and they're like, all right, say your name, grade, what your major is, and what you did over the summer.
Something interesting about yourself. Yeah.
All I have to say about myself is that I'm 22, I'm male, and I live in Michigan.
Yeah, I'm a male, live in Michigan.
Damn.
So you've narrowed yourself down to like 1% of people in the U.S.
Congrats.
Well, I was just giving my
now all of
ASL.
all of our listeners.
Sorry.
Which coincidentally is like 3.3 million people.
Alright, so that's Garrett. He's 22. He's a male. He's from Michigan, and he's a super nerd.
I'm 21.
I'm
But
sorry, 21. My
yeah,
bad.
good job, good friend. Yes, I'm also 20. Well, I'm 21. I'm from Michigan, and I'm a male. To follow in Phil Flick's footsteps.
Oh, you really fucked up that. It's ASL, not ALS. Come on.
What?
Oh my god.
Is anyone undecided?
I don't even know. Okay,
Undecided
Sorry.
in their major?
No, in their gender.
Oh, in their gender.
This is when Rory comes up and goes, I identify as a dragonkin. I need to eat my
No,
mom's
it's
dinner.
identify as an attack helicopter.
Attack helicopter.
Okay, Garrett, do you have anything else about yourself besides your age, your gender, and where you're from?
Not really. I think we're gonna keep it a little ambiguous.
All right, I like that. Chris or Rory, you guys want to go?
I don't know. I'd jump into like what people are up to right now. Besides
you gotta say who you are, so that this is the first one. Literally, anybody that's listening besides people that we know, have no idea who we are, what we're.
Well, similarly to everyone else in this podcast, it is male, 21 to 22, and lives in Michigan. I don't know if we want to get any more specific than that, like interests, which we could go into.
I live in the great state of Ohio. All right.
You mean the shittiest state in the union?
Unfortunately.
I like how we're all being reduced down to like how you fill out like a job application or like a standardized test.
Which is hilarious.
Wait, Garrett, you didn't have to apply for this?
Basically, yeah.
The only difference being that you don't have to try and find some way that you can be like a different race to get in.
Okay, Rory has literally said nothing besides "Hi, I'm Rory." So, Rory, do you have anything to add right now?
He's also accepting girlfriend applications.
As he doesn't, is he even?
No, I think the
right now?
deadline expired like 15 days ago. He is in the call.
Okay. Rory, are you there?
Wait, yeah, can
Oh
you hear
God! Put your headphones in, and you can hear background noise.
me? No, so I put my headphones in and it wasn't working.
Okay, so we can hear you. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
This is the socially unacceptable podcast, Technical
Yeah,
Alpha.
Is there still a lot of
We're
background
pros.
noise?
Right.
No, the background noise is fine now. It was just we could hear ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We could hear the playback.
Let me try another pair. I've been talking for the past 10 minutes, getting interrupted every time. Not knowing why.
Oh yeah, no,
To be fair, even when we can hear you, that's probably still gonna happen.
we heard none of you though.
Can you hear
So
me now?
Yeah, not a bit.
Wait, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
hear you now.
I'm just waiting for
probably-
the
God.
It is a bit.
some sick joke that none of us heard that would have been like
You have
the
no idea.
best way to start the podcast.
Okay.
You are a bit quiet though, Rory.
Okay. I guess I'll get closer.
That's good. That's good, Rick. That's
Oh
good,
my-
Rick.
God, 10 minutes of just pure useless talking. Okay, so I'm Rory. I go to the University of Michigan. I'm majoring in cellular and molecular biology and minoring in history and unemployment.
And
Hey,
unemployment.
Rory, pat yourself on the back.
I think we're all majoring in that.
What unemployment?
No, I'm
yeah.
only minoring.
For
I don't know what
sure.
you're talking about. I have a job.
I'm successfully majoring in employment as of May.
Well,
congrats,
Oh, Chris, you got a job?
Congrats.
I got 4 jobs.
Oh,
I'll take like 2 of those. If you
Okay.
don't want them.
I'll take one of them.
All right, so we can kind of tie this into our next little part, just what everybody's up to. I know we're all college students. There's soon to be newly employed, real world people. What is everybody going? Like, what's going on with everybody? Is everybody? I know some people had finals this week. Some people have finals next week. Is everybody done with finals by next week?
I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
I'm
finals
all
starting
done.
June 6th.
That's
shit.
D-Day.
That's 'cause you're
That's
still in high
D-Day,
school.
Garrett.
Yep.
I forgot Garrett still goes to high school.
What the hell?
college.
Fuck my life. Hey,
Or
it's
you
more time
think
to
you-
find a job, so I don't feel like a failure when I graduate.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You finished finals already, Rory?
Yeah, I finished already. It was pretty nice.
I'm done too.
Are you staying
Oh,
in Ann Arbor
really?
for the summer? Or are you going home, Roy?
Yes, I'll be here in Ann Arbor because I'm going to be taking classes, and then not next week, but the one after that, I have an interview to get a volunteering spot at the hospital here,
Oh, nice.
which would be pretty cool if that worked out.
Very
It's
cool.
pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
What about Phil?
Yeah,
You said you have a job, Phil?
Yeah, I'm still working as an intern at the company I've been at for like a year and a half now. But I did just get an interview with Ford, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty sweet. Doing what? Doing like?
Chemist,
Would you-
analytical chemist.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Blowing
Yeah.
up everything.
I hope you're pretty focused for that interview, Phil.
Rory, you're the
Oh.
word.
Oh. And then Garrett, so you're not done with school till like the beginning of June?
June 12th is when I graduate.
Wow.
Yeah, I have then to find a job.
And you're,
we
you're
just-
done on June 12th completely? Like you're done with college?
Yeah, like that's when I get my diploma.
That's like 6 days after D-Day. So
Yeah, that is 6 days after D-Day. Exactly. 6
Connor,
days.
how about you?
I am done with finals this upcoming Tuesday, so that's like what the 3rd. That's my last final, and then I am staying down here for the summer to take classes and work on campus, and then I'm coming back in the fall for a semester to take I think 12 or 15 credits, and then I'll graduate next December. So I've still got
I'm pretty much
got a
convinced.
while.
I'm pretty much convinced that the reason you're doing that is to ruin all of our fun.
what does that
Ruin
mean?
All of your fun. Oh, for the up north trip? Yeah, that's
Oh,
probably.
I see.
That's the main reason. That's the main reason.
And
Phil, why
yeah,
don't you, Phil, why don't you volunteer a spot up north?
Yeah, Phil. What about your family's up
Yeah,
north?
I'll
Kevin?
get right on that. Actually, you know what we could do? We could go camping.
Oh, here we go.
Let's do
Dude,
it.
you know how many of the people in this group would be like enjoy camping? Like, come on.
Sean Dunkel and I have gone camping together before.
Ooh,
Like
yeah.
actual
Okay,
camping.
So that's 3. I'd be 4.
I'd go.
I don't know if I would
Okay.
enjoy it. I feel like I'd be competent at it.
I'd go only if we did like bare bones camping. Like we took nothing with
Like
us and had to
Bear
like
Grylls?
survive.
Like
Yeah.
Bear Grylls.
No, I'm not like I'm not gonna pee in your mouth or anything, dude. But it's like we take 2 days,
That's
bring
my
nothing.
fetish.
We have to build like a
We
lean-to
bring
and shit
bring
like that.
nothing.
Fucking
Bring
nothing. If we
No
die,
way.
if we die, we deserve it, dude. I'm just saying.
Holy shit. That's hardcore.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So when Sean Dunkel and I went, we did about as bare bones as you can get while still being in a first world country. Meaning
Okay.
we brought a
So not bare
lighter,
bones at all.
a knife, things of that nature.
A roll of duct tape.
How many
Yes.
animals did you kill?
Well, are
Wait,
people
what
animals?
did you guys? What did you guys eat?
Fucking amateur hour.
What did you guys eat?
Beans.
Did you
Wait,
For
what?
how many days? What?
For 2 days, it consisted mostly of beans.
Wait,
Um,
did you
and-
grow these beans or no?
We did not grow the beans. We brought the
This
beans.
is fucking bullshit, dude. This is not what I want to do.
Coincidentally, speaking on the topic of food while camping, so we went out. We brought tents with us, so I guess it's really not quite bare bones. But we brought tents with us, and one of the tents did not have a rain topper.
Oh, nice.
And it was going to rain at night, so we traveled about half a mile, found a cornfield, took all the husks off the corn, tied them together, and made a rain shelter out of it for the top of our tent.
Fuck, that's what I'm talking about.
Seriously,
Hey,
you
that's
guys
pretty boss.
actually did that?
We seriously did that.
That's actually pretty awesome. See,
Yeah.
I'd be down to do something like that. That actually sounds like a good time. Alrighty.
Next.
So moving on, just basically like, why is it called the Socially Unacceptable Podcast? Where did that term come from?
I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea. It just kind of
Well-
became an acronym at some point, didn't it?
Well, as the podcast goes on, I'd have to imagine that people will start to understand why socially acceptable is a completely acceptable name.
Well, yeah, if you have Dennis on,
Right, yeah. There's,
Yeah, we need Dennis to expedite that
I mean,
process.
even like 15 minutes of Costa and you'd understand.
Dude, 15,
Yes,
try like 5.
I'd say certain friends that are not currently on this podcast right now would be better examples of why that name is what it is.
John and Dennis.
That's
John and
because
Dennis
this
No,
together.
is-
okay, but where did the name, like, where did that term come from? Like, how
Didn't
did we
it-
first?
As far as I know, wasn't it just like in high school, Dennis would just like say just socially unacceptable things, but he'd say them like every like 2 or 3 minutes, honestly. And whenever he'd say one of them, we'd like tap our wrists like it's a watch, like, yep, right on time,
Yeah,
right on time. There
Right
it
on
is.
time.
Like, yeah.
I actually do
Correct
remember that. Now that you're- now
I
that- now
thought
that you
that was
say
it. I thought that was
right
the
on,
origin.
yeah, the right on time Dennis had it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is about the time.
Definitely the major
I seriously
contributor.
can't believe high school was 10 years ago.
It was
I-
not 10 years ago.
I mean, that's
It
not
was,
that's not true.
Do the math, dude. It's 10 years.
No, it wasn't.
Rory
Math
no.
is not Roy's strong suit.
Even if you go back to freshman year of high school, it hasn't been 10 years.
10
Go
years.
back
man.
to math topics, Rory.
7.
So stupid.
It's 2016. The 90s were at least 50 years ago.
I don't even know.
All
what we're
all
saying.
right.
So, anyways, the
Welcome
SU.
welcome to the Social Unacceptable Podcast right there.
I feel like we're building up Dennis so much that when he's finally on
Oh,
one of
dude,
these,
there's no way he
you
doesn't.
know, our
he doesn't
dozens
disappoint.
and dozens of
He's-
listeners.
No, I'm saying I think he will because the way he works is he's
Here's-
either super boisterous and is talking a bunch of shit, or he says maybe like 2 or 3 words a minute.
Yeah, we're gonna talk him up, and like we know him as this completely socially unacceptable guy. But like you're gonna like have Dennis on the show, and we're gonna be like, hey Dennis, let's tell us a little bit about yourself, and be like, hi, I'm Dennis.
Dennis.
So you
21.
have to get
I'm
it
a
right.
male.
Like, he says it
I'm
really
from Michigan.
quick. He'll be like, "Hi, no."
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I honestly, I think for the first like probably 10, 15 minutes he'll be like that, but as he like gets into the groove and as he gets more comfortable and as he sees like and hears us say like semi stupid things, then he'll just
Yeah.
kind of like run with it and just
He'll be
beat the Dennis that we
comfortable
all know
telling
and
us
love.
what he identifies as. Maybe it is an
Yeah.
AH-64 Apache attack helicopter. I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly. Okay, so that kind of to tie in with that. So there's the 5 of us on right now. There's not really a set number that we'll have on every week. Not really a set who's going to be on every week. We'll probably just throw in some random people, 4, 5, 6 every week, kind of see what works, what doesn't, who's available, who's not, just that kind of stuff. That's just kind of like going forward, just plans or whatever. Does
Which should
anybody
keep
have
keep the
Go ahead.
podcast fairly interesting with the diversity of commentary
Yeah.
we might have coming from
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Well, yeah, that's kind of one of the cool things about having such a big group of friends like we do is that there's definitely a huge range of views and experiences and that kind of stuff that I think will make it really cool if we do it on a weekly basis like we're planning on doing. Does anybody have any like experience with anything like this? I know Tim, who is not on this week, unfortunately, he had a commitment. He's done like radio broadcasting at GVSU before. But have any of you guys done, like, I know I haven't. Have any of you guys done anything like this, like, before?
No, absolutely. Like the closest I'd come to is that I'm thinking about trying to do stand-up comedy sometime soon. That is, but no, nothing like this ever before.
I've worked
Absolutely zero
on
experience.
I've worked on a couple projects that have required something similar to this with 2 of us speaking for a class. So some some with it, but not much.
Was it a presentation?
No,
I've
it was.
done those before.
No. It was more like recording voiceover on a topic and it being played as a project.
Yeah. Okay.
So in a sense, it was a project, but more of a podcast-ish project.
Okay. Do any of you guys listen to podcasts on like a weekly basis? I know I listen to a hockey podcast, and then I listen to Nerdist on like.
Do you listen to PKA, Connor?
What is that?
It's Painkiller already. Sean and Dunkel listen to it. It's who is it? It's like Woody, Wings of Redemption, these other COD guys. They just have a pod.
all the YouTube
Yeah.
guys. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I feel like I've heard them talk about it, but no, I don't listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
They watch it quite a bit, and I mean, even branching off the podcast, I mean, there's Free Beer and Hot Wings, which I know a lot of us listen to.
Yep.
And then I myself watch a lot of gaming podcasts. I know I've the recently started Optic podcast, which is fairly entertaining because it spans, I mean, based around Call of Duty, but the brand itself is expanded into other games. So there's that. There's the Deserto podcast, which is a European podcast about gaming.
That's kind of cool.
Let's see, the only thing I really listen to, not even semi-regularly, is OVO Sound Radio. OVO is it's Drake's hip-hop label. So I listen to a lot of hip-hop and keep up with that. But in God, it's they talk about music, and I like to listen to it.
Fair enough. I mean, the only thing I listen to, like, once a month maybe is the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Rooster Teeth also
God,
very good.
You would listen to the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Hey,
From what I've heard of those, they're pretty
no,
funny.
I'm just kidding. No, they are. No, that actually is a pretty funny one.
I've actually probably never listened to a podcast in my life.
The set that they
So yeah.
Well, then get out.
the set that Rooster Teeth has.
I'm just gonna
at their
level with you.
place-
I have no clue what I'm doing right now.
It's okay. You can listen to this one. We'll take your podcast, Cherry.
The set that Rooster Teeth has for their podcast, that's off topic, it's like a bar setting. It's like when you go, like if you were to film a TV show and there's like a set, that's what they have too, and it's them at a bar, and they have like 5 different beers on tap right behind them that they can get up and drink during the podcast.
Kind of get on it. Where's our set?
I'll figure it out. With our $0.
You have money, right? You're in college.
Yeah, I'm loaded as a senior in college. Just
I
absolutely.
didn't get my job with Bell's, so I can't help you out there.
All
Bell's
right,
is
so
a Michigan brewing company, for those who don't know.
yeah,
Thanks, Phil.
the best
Oh,
Michigan
okay.
brewing company. If not, no, actually, I take that back. Founders.
I'd say shorts. I like shorts.
I'd say neither, because beer sucks.
Yeah,
Oh.
Phil, you're weird. You drink ciders
Oh my
all the time.
God, Phil.
That's worse than Garrett not liking whiskey, honestly.
Okay, I haven't had like good whiskey though. I've heard that good whiskey tastes good, but like I don't know.
You
So
just
you
asked if
I've
Jameson's
had
good
bottom
whiskey.
to middle of the line whiskey, and I
Phil-
just don't like it.
Phil, you probably don't even like hams, do you?
You're such.
Ham's light, on the other hand.
Ham's Light is the champagne of water.
Isn't that what you gave Connor for Christmas?
That's
Yeah,
absolutely
he gave me a grocery bag full of hams. Of not even
It's
like
just-
new hams, like old, like month-old warm hams.
You have to let them age, and they were ice cold.
You have to let it like a fine wine.
Hey, it's like whiskey, Garrett.
It wasn't even put in like a nice gift bag. It was just actually a plastic bag.
Yeah, but it's from a nice
Literally a-
grocery. It was from a
Hey,
nice
I helped him wrap that.
At least I had the decency to wrap mine in aluminum foil. You know, something.
Dude, you gave me lettuce that you put in, like a salad, that you put in there like 4 days ago. It was molded.
It
got
was
on,
more
the
than 4
dressing
days
got on my
ago.
hand, and it's literally stained.
Phil,
my
there
hand.
was no dressing. That was just mold.
Oh,
So the truth comes out.
oh boy.
I just sliced up carrots and lettuce and wrapped it in tin foil and just left it in there for a week.
That's so insensitive, Garrett.
Dude.
Okay. Moving on. I know, Chris, you kind of wanted to touch on this. We'll kind of move into our first real segment. We're going to talk about some gaming-related stuff. I know Chris kind of wanted to touch on the new Call of Duty and the leak, I guess it was, about the remastered Call of Duty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
which
don't
is
know if you wanna
all
go with that, Chris.
all pretty exciting. Well, first of all, I'll start by saying that the actual Call of Duty title being released is about one of the biggest disappointments for a Call of Duty fan. It's like waking up on Christmas to there being no presents. Because, I mean, Infinite Warfare, Call of Duty in space.
Wait, what?
There
What?
we go.
Yeah.
That's where we are. What else are they
What the
supposed to do?
fuck?
What else are they supposed
I
to do?
don't-
They can't.
I
They
don't
can't
know.
go like.
Do it. EA is taking Battlefield to World War One. No one's ever done a World War One game before.
Well, and that's the thing, is
If you
everyone's
put-
been calling for like a World War II like remake. Like World at War was an extremely popular game. And
Yeah.
Dude, you can't-
arguably
no,
one of the
you
most
can't
fun
have-
for its
you-
time.
You can't have jetpacks in World War One and World War Two. How are you supposed
Well-
to jet around the map like you do in the new
Checkmate.
Call of Duties?
That's what I was saying, and I was trying to explain this to Connor as part of like the progressive structure of Call of Duty, where one developer will start making the game as soon as the other one releases their game, so they're at least a year in advance. So
Yeah.
when Advanced Warfare came out and they had the jetpacks and the boosting and everything, everyone didn't know that that was going to be an absolutely terrible idea before the next game was already in development. So now it's in the next game too.
Was it a terrible idea?
Everyone thought that it was going to be
pretty bad.
super cool at the beginning, and then it gets to the point where you're on your screen and you're looking at someone and they press the stick in and to a side and they just fly off your screen with a jetpack. And you have no clue where they go. They can jump over you, they can jump to the side, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And so they tried to fix that a little bit with the newest game in Black Ops 3 by saying that if someone jumps, they can't leave your field of view if they're in the center of it, which made it a little bit better, but it's still pretty painful and not Call of Duty, which Call of Duty was originally to be a war game experience.
I mean, the franchise has to evolve somewhat, don't you think?
Yeah, but when you're trying, I mean, you already have Halo as that futuristic model of what warfare would be. And
The
so
problem
when you
with that
take
is Halo's an Xbox exclusive, so you're basically like segregating half of the console users by using that.
that
argument.
is
Like,
true. I guess
Oh,
you,
wow.
Like if you have a PlayStation, then you can't play Halo, so you don't have that
All right.
jetpack,
Quick aside.
that kind of stuff
Quick,
experience.
quick aside. I'm a little drunk. I almost just drank out of my bottle of lotion instead of this bottle right here. That would have been
But
bad.
Connor,
It probably
in
tastes
all
just about as
honesty-
good.
In all honesty, the consoles are really starting to migrate towards shared users. You know, where if a game's out on both systems, you can play against each other. You know, I think Rocket League doing that?
No, yeah, Rocket
It's-
League you can do it PC and PS4. You can play together, but you can't do
That's
PC
pretty
to
huge.
Xbox One. No, yeah, no,
I
I agree,
think-
but I'm saying like the argument of you already have Halo, which is more like the jetpacks and that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, you have that, but at the same time, you can't play Halo on the PlayStation. So anybody that's ever had a PlayStation has never had the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare like jetpack boosting experience. So
Does Sony have it? Like, I know they have, what is it, Killzone? Is that like their flagship
oh, dude,
console?
Killzone was
exclusive?
like Killzone was a train wreck.
Was it
Killzone
really
an
that
absolute
bad?
train wreck. It was. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't anything that they could kind of hang their hat on.
It's no Halo, right?
Oh no, not even like it. And that was kind of the thing is they tried to be, but then
Yeah.
they just kind of fell flat, and it wasn't really. I mean, it was okay. It was like I don't know. It was all right.
But you don't
And I
want
think-
your
I don't- they
flagship
made, like,
shooter
two.
guys to be just okay.
Right. No, and I mean if I had like to say a flagship for PlayStation Sony, it's probably God of War. Like
Yeah.
that's probably their most. Like,
Did you ever?
well-known-
I heard
well-known
really
game.
good things about the Uncharted series. Is that good?
That too, yeah, no, that's really, really good. That's really,
Okay.
really good. Uncharted, yeah, and they're actually coming out with a new one, I think, later this year, or soon, maybe. I actually don't know, but I know there's a new one coming out. I think it's the last one they announced is like the last one that's coming out. But yeah, no, Uncharted's really fun too.
But yeah, so anyways, they come out with this Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which is rumored to take place in space, and I know there've been like leaked pictures of actual like gameplay from campaign modes of a guy in a spaceship with a gun,
Oh fuck yeah.
which holds about zero appeal to me. But anyways, there's a poster that was leaked maybe 2 or 3 days ago of the game itself, and it says Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and then underneath it says also included is COD 4 Modern Warfare Remastered Edition.
Oh wow.
Which for everyone who's played Call of Duty is like the golden years, especially
Yeah.
back in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember walking into to Miss Kehoe's room every single day, and and all the guys gathered around and talking about the Call of Duty games from the night before.
Oh, that was awesome. Honestly, for me, it was like I think it just had to do with the timing of when I got live. But it's like when I was playing Call of Duty 4, I didn't have Xbox Live, so I think I must have played through that campaign a good 30 or 40 times.
Mile High
Story-
Club, dude.
story-
Mile High
Yeah.
Club.
Yeah,
Oh
that was
my
it.
god.
Wasn't I the first one to beat that?
You
I'm
might have.
better.
Oh, listen to.
You
Oh,
might
I
have.
was the first one to beat
I'm just gonna throw it out
No,
there.
it was you or my dad. I don't know which one.
Definitely Big Kev.
I
Definitely
probably
Big
lost to
Kev.
Big Kev.
He
Big
still
Kev.
plays. He has
You
over
can't
2
hit the
KD.
broadside of a bomb.
But for me, it was like the most multiplayer memories I had, like the vast majority came from Modern Warfare 2 and just all the unbalanced
Yeah.
shit in the game.
Too.
That's kind of
Yeah,
Chris and
yeah.
I were talking about that before we started recording this. Is like, just your personal favorite Call of Duty always seems to be like the first one that you like own. Like for me, I didn't have like a next gen, like I say next gen, but like a PS3 until World at War came out. And so that World at War was my first Call of Duty,
Yep.
and like
Yep.
I can't think of a thing I didn't like about World at War looking back on it. Which I'm sure for other people are like, well, you know, World at War was crap because I started on COD 4, right? And so it just kind of depends on when you got like what your first Call of Duty game was. That there's like a
Yeah.
nostalgia that you just kind of have.
I think
For
I
me-
honestly developed like a fetish for bolt action rifles from that game. Like honestly,
No, for me it was a bit different because I got COD 4 first, and I played that a bit, but like I didn't play it a whole lot. And then I got World at War, also didn't play that a whole lot. And then I got Modern Warfare 2, and then everybody kept playing that forever, and I played that one a lot.
yeah, I
So
remember.
that
'cause
was
you,
that
you
one was
would
my
always,
favorite.
you were always like, does everybody want to play Halo? And everybody was like, no. And you were like, okay, I guess I'll play Modern Warfare. Like,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I liked it. It was a good game. It was just like I don't know. It wasn't my favorite.
yeah.
Search and Destroy. You guys used to get so mad at me. Oh,
Well,
I
what
hated
was it?
Search and Destroy.
Well,
It was too
here's the
stressful.
thing, Phil. You would be like, you would somehow, like maybe like 2 or 3 out of a 10 game sample, you would always somehow be the last one left. And instead of just like actually trying, you'd sit there and like
No, I
carve your
tried.
name.
I
No,
won most of the time.
Shut the fuck up. You'd like carve your name into a wall. You'd carve your name into a wall with like a throwing knife until like 50 seconds are left, and then
Okay.
you'd try.
Yeah, I'm remembering this now that you mention it.
Yeah.
Phil, what was your first COD game?
Oh, this is Modern Warfare 2, man.
Modern
Oh.
Warfare 2.
You know what the
Okay.
the best thing to do was to do, run sleight of hand lightweight and
Oh my
literally
God.
run all over the place. Everybody ran marathon, but
Your
sleight of hand-
parents know you did that? That's fucked up.
Well, and then I would also use the a silence intervention without stalking power, and I would be like, "How are you even killing me?" Shooting
No, or
him
else
in the
you'd die, and then you'd be like, how did I not kill him? And I'd be like, look at your fucking build.
That was basically the best. That's what I'm trying to say. Should have went pro. Totally.
Well, we had the COD 4 Remastered, and then the other gaming thing that we wanted to talk about was the Smash Summit, which I didn't actually know about.
Okay,
prior
yeah, so
to
I can
Connor, you telling me.
kind of bring this up. So, basically, Beyond the Summit is a series that started with Dota, which is a pretty well-known, pretty popular video game, MOBA. They basically would bring in like 16 to 20 of like the best pros. They all come to like one house. I think it's in California. I know it's on the west side of the
Never
U.S.
got my invite. It was really weird.
And then they're like, how is these guys in this big house? They all stay in the same house. And they basically just like play Dota for like 4 days. I've never really watched any of the Dota ones, so I don't really know exactly what they do. But then last year they had the first ever Smash Summit for Super Smash Bros. Melee, and then they had one again this past weekend. And for Smash, I watched some of the events and stuff. They do like some like goof around events where it's like 2 players, 1 controller. You know, you get to pick your opponent's character, Iron Man, that kind of stuff. Just like some fun events. And then they also have like the regular singles tournament bracket, doubles tournament bracket, that kind of stuff. And then one thing that we can kind of relate to, because I know we've done this before, is they play a game of Mafia. We call it Citizens and Werewolves. And then
Sure.
No,
every
no.
they play a game of Mafia every night, and then they stream it so that you as a viewer at home can kind of watch the game of Mafia. You know everybody's roles, so you know who the Mafia is, you know who the cop, the medic, the vigilante, all that kind of stuff. And so it was just kind of interesting for me to kind of watch, like having played it before as like a player, and then obviously their rules are a little bit different because they have like way more people. They have like upwards of 20 people in a game, where we were like 8 or 9 at the most, I think, when we played. But
Yeah.
it's super frustrating to like watch someone play Mafia knowing all, like having all of the knowledge, like watching it, and like just watching them play so terribly. Like one thing that really stood out to me was in the last game they played, the Mafia. There were 3 of them left, and they literally did not say a single word the entire like last 2 days, while like the people who are not Mafia are like all attacking each other and like, I think he's the Mafia, let's lynch him. I think he's Mafia, let's lynch him. Blah blah blah. And, like,
it's lynching.
Mafia,
holy shit.
yeah, they call it lynching.
They
Like
get a
this
little more
survives
aggressive
it,
than us.
But it was like, and the Mafia literally were just like sitting back, like, and you could like, they would like pan to them sometimes, and they would just be like silently laughing to themselves, like, these idiots, so stupid. And
So
I feel
these
like,
were Dota players or Smash players?
Smash players, Smash
Okay,
players.
okay.
So granted, they're not like super good at Mafia. There's like people that are like actually like play Mafia on like a regular basis and are really good at it. So
Yeah.
these guys like don't have like the skills or whatever. But it was just so kind of interesting to like watch it and like, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, and it was super frustrating, super frustrating to watch.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
I want to watch it because I think it's interesting because these are all Smash pros, as opposed to like Dota pros or League of Legends pros. Like these guys are all, as far as I know, competitive Smash is pretty much just 1-on-1, right?
Yeah, there's that's like the main, and there's obviously like doubles, so it's like 2 on 2.
So
But
so like these guys don't really know what it's like to ever have like a team member, and so it's like you
Right.
throw 20 in a room, and it's like I thought it'd be much more interesting to watch like a group of 20 Dota pros or something try and do this game because maybe if you have 2 or 3 from the same team, they know how each other act and they know their mannerisms and stuff like that. So like, it'd
Right.
be much more interesting to watch an interaction between these people who might know 2 or 3 guys out of the 20 very well and the other 17 not at all.
yeah, that's actually a really good point that you mentioned that, because they're kind of talking about how like their personalities as Smash players definitely came through as
Yeah.
when they were playing the Mafia game, because there were some guys that are like extremely like aggressive when they play Smash and like right in your face and like not really like ham, and then when they played Mafia, they would like kind of do the same thing. They were like always talking, always trying to stir up conversation, accuse
Yeah.
people, and it was just kind of, that was one of the things that they kind of talked about. There were Reddit threads every night after the game where people like discuss like what happened and whatnot. But
I think
yeah,
Phil might
it was just
enjoy
kinda
playing with
funny.
a bunch of people he doesn't know, so then he doesn't die first every single round.
Yeah, I know, seriously. God, what a meme.
I was gonna say, I remember the most frustrating game in the world was when we were up north, all of us playing, and Garrett was the deciding
Yep.
factor as the witch, I believe.
yeah, he was the witch, and he had the power to bring. I think I was the seer, and he had like,
Yep,
I
you were the
died,
seer.
and he had the power to bring me back to life, and he was like, nah, let's
For
have
a
some
guaranteed
fun.
win.
Let's have
It-
let's have some fun this game.
So yeah, you played
They
it off.
gave a little subtle
Yeah,
go
you
fuck
played it
yourself.
off as fun, aka you fucked up hard. Like,
No, he definitely
really hard.
Oh,
he
no,
definitely
I
meant to
meant-
do it.
I
Yeah, no,
meant
you
to
definitely-
fuck things up.
Yeah, no, I mean, and which is like, it's like a game, so it's all well and fun, but it was like you definitely were like, all right, I can have some fun
Didn't
with this game.
Okay, we had a game where like, you know how we would like shuffle the deck so that we didn't know how many of like the special cards there would be, so like you might actually have like all citizens and stuff. So there was
Right.
one game where we took one of the werewolf cards out, so you didn't know if there were 1 or 2 werewolves.
Yeah,
And
I
there
do
was like
remember we did
one
that.
werewolf. I think I was the one werewolf, and I just killed myself after I noticed that there wasn't another werewolf, and I just sat back and watched everybody kill each other off.
It was kind of funny that you mentioned that, because they were talking about, they have like a mod for the game because there's so many people, and they do where you don't, if you die, your role doesn't get revealed. So if you kill somebody, you don't know if you killed a mafia or you killed a citizen, right? Or a
Oh,
town,
fuck
they
that.
call it. So because they have so many,
Pretty
so yeah, no, it's just like another layer of mind games that can be played. But the one guy was talking, it was like, I think it was before like the second or third night, and he was like, I've modded for Mafia before, yada yada, and he said the most fun I ever had was when I just didn't put any Mafia cards in, and everybody was a citizen, and then I would just RNG kill a person, like I would just close my eyes and spin in a circle and point at somebody, and that's who the quote unquote Mafia would kill that night, and then the
Yeah.
citizens just would like kill each other, whatever, and then they got to the end of the game, we're like, oh yeah, town wins, wait, who was the Mafia? I was town, were you town? I was town, who the hell was the, and like it was just like a super interesting kind of like deal that kind of went through. But
I'd love
yeah,
to just watch that. Holy shit.
That's the best thing about the game is just the lack of rules. Like, there's one rule, it's like if you're a werewolf, you can kill people. If you're a citizen, you can't, and like that's it.
I
And
was
then
like,
you just house rules the
the
rest.
only thing that annoyed me is the not like I don't know about annoying, but just like when we were playing, it was like I'm trying to remember the specific 2 people, but it was like if like, well, I think it was like if Costa was the werewolf, he'd kill Phil every time first night.
Every time.
Like every time. So it was one of those things where it's like that's perfectly legitimate. You can do whatever you want, but it was like then like if Phil died the first round, people would vote Costa no matter what.
Well, I mean, but that's part of the game when you play it.
Yeah.
When you've played it multiple times, that's just kind of something that happens with.
Yeah.
When you play it in like succession with the same people, habits start to arise, and that's just like. Because when you play it for the first time, you have
You did
absolutely yeah, you have well yeah, and if you did math.
He did math.
When you play it for the first time, you just got like absolutely no like read. You've got no inkling as like who has got like any tells or anything like that. Like I know Roy, you said one time you were like Connor, you've got like you've got like a 1 second where like you give yourself away and then for the rest of it you're golden. And like if like, you're playing with me for the first time, that's not something you're looking for, right?
Yeah, I should have never betrayed that knowledge. I don't know why I said that. So.
Yeah, this is why it's such a great group, like a great game to play with just a new group of people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like if you don't know how everybody's gonna act, it's so much more fun. And even if you do, it still ends up being fun. It's just like Phil ends up dying every time, and if Phil doesn't die, it means he's a werewolf.
Yeah.
So you vote him off, and he dies second instead.
All right, we can kind of switch gears now, really quick. Kind of go more towards a sports kind of vein, I guess. I don't know if you guys saw this story or not about the NHL playoffs. So let me try and pull this up. So on Monday night, it was Game 7 between the St. Louis Blues and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks are defending Stanley Cup champions. And there was this like really like kind of funny story on Twitter. This guy, I assume he's from the St. Louis area. Twitter handle is @SoloUCity. He just like he just kind of like started randomly tweeting about the game, and it got picked up by Reddit, and then like the St. Louis Blues and the NHL, like all like their Twitter accounts and that kind of stuff.
White people have been hiding hockey from us for years. This shit's lit.
So I was just gonna kind of go through really quick and read the tweet. It shouldn't take that long. So his first tweet is, "Yo, deadass, this is the first time I've ever watched hockey, and this shit has been lit for these first 45 seconds. What the fuck is a power play? This shit lit as fuck, Lamau. White people have been hiding hockey from us for years, bruh. This shit is lit. All caps, goal. I don't know who this dude Kane is, but we gotta stop him. Patrick Kane's like the best player for the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Holy shit. It hit off both posts, like 6 crying emojis. Honestly, why wouldn't the whole team just stand out in front of the net for the last minute? Empty net, question mark. Goalie just said fuck it and left. Because the Blackhawks had to pull their goalie, so like they obviously just kind of... and then all caps, we did it. We being used very loosely. This dude has like 3 teeth left. This shit is rough and violent. I can't wait till the next game. Baseball is so slow now. And then it's pretty funny because he got the Blues tweeted at him and were like, "Hey man, welcome to hockey. It's great to have you here." And then they were like, "Here's Game 3." So the Blues are playing in the next round against the Dallas Stars. The first 2 games are in Dallas, and then games 3 and 4 of the series are in St. Louis. And the St. Louis Blues gave him 2 tickets to Game 3.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Like, which are like playoff tickets are like no matter where it is in the arena are like ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, I bet.
Then so they give him these tickets, and then he tweets back and he was like, "Is it gonna be cold? Am I gonna need a jacket? I mean, this building's full of ice, right?" And then Vladimir Tarasenko, who is the Blues superstar player, who's like their best player or whatever, tweeted at him and was like, "Hey man, I think you should definitely pick up a jersey." And he like sent him a link to get his jersey, and the guy was like, "Awesome! Here's like I just bought myself a Tarasenko jersey." So it was just like this really cool story about like this kind of, I don't know, like this random guy just getting into a sport for the first time.
It was like whoever's working for the Blues, whoever manages their social media, definitely deserves a pay raise for just like taking that opportunity to like just like even like just giving him the tickets. Fine, that's like what, a couple $100 loss on their part, but it's like that gives them just like a pretty big profile in the news. Yeah, because this story is like it's not a story, but it's like anyone who uses the internet or uses Reddit like saw this.
I know it was like the top. It was like the top voted thing on the hockey subreddit for like.
So
2 days.
like the Blues got a ton of positive PR. I'm assuming a ton of or a decent amount of fans from just doing that.
All right, really quick before we say anything else, Phil has dropped from the call. I think he had something to take care of. So for those of you who are tuning in to listen to Phil, which is probably 0 people, but we apologize for the lack of Phil for the remainder of the podcast.
Or we'd like to say you're welcome for the lack of Phil for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, for everyone else, you're welcome for the lack of Phil. Yeah, exactly.
If this shit blows up, we make our millions of YouTube dollars. This is gonna be he's gonna be sour they dropped from this.
What I was gonna say
back. He doesn't even get a cut.
About the playoffs, though, is that I feel like there's a decent amount of teams that aren't normally in the playoffs in the second round of the playoffs.
I know. So I was looking at this stat the other day. There are the last 7 years, only 3 teams have won the Stanley Cup. The LA Kings, Chicago Blackhawks, and then the Boston Bruins won it 7 years ago. So the Kings and the Hawks have alternated years for like the last 6 years or whatever. So the Bruins, Boston didn't even make the playoffs this year, and then LA and Chicago both got knocked out in the first round. So there's like for the first time in 7 years, there's going to be a new Stanley Cup champion, which is really, really cool. Like from a viewer standpoint, just like a hockey standpoint in general, it's pretty cool to see teams that aren't normally.
And teams. I mean the frickin' Islanders are in the second round of the playoffs for what seems the first time in franchise history.
Well, there was a stat, and it was like the Islanders hadn't won a playoff series since 1993. So like the year some of us were born was the last time the Islanders won a playoff series, which is ridiculous. So, but no, it's definitely cool to see as a hockey fan. Which I mean, I'm a huge hockey fan, so I don't know about. I know some of you.
Although the Minnesota Wild fan, which didn't go so well for the first series.
No, it's not.
Does Georgia have a hockey team?
Not ideal. Georgia does not have a hockey team anymore. They had the Atlanta Thrashers like 6 years ago, I want to say.
Start one, Garrett. Start one. The Savannah Peaches.
And then Atlanta moved back up to Winnipeg, and they're the Jets now. But no, Georgia does not.
They'll come in the wild card round next year. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, for sure. One other kind of little sports topic I wanted to touch on really briefly. I don't know a ton about, but I do know a little bit about. So, excuse me. Over in the English Premier League, which is like the top league for soccer over in England, I think there's like
football, please.
Oh, football. Sorry, my bad. There's like 3 or 4 games. Like every team's got like I think 2, 3, or 4 games left in the season. Their season's like I don't even know how many, like 40 games or something ridiculous like that. So the team in first place right now is Leicester City. They at the beginning of the season they had 5,000 to 1 odds to win the league. Which
whoa.
Yeah, 5,000 to 1. They did like a little graphic. That's the same as someone discovering Bigfoot is real, which I don't even know how you would like determine that.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, how is that a thing? And then it's the 5,001 odds is the same as if Christmas is the hottest day of the year. Like that's how just ridiculously nutty it is that this team is about to win the league.
What level was this league? Was this like the highest like pro league that you're talking about, or is
this is the Premier League.
Yeah, the English Premier League, which is like the top level in England, and then arguably the best team, like or the best league in the world, like the most competitive, has the best teams, like top to bottom.
Holy shit!
Yeah, no, they're about to win at 5,000 to 1 odds, and it's pretty ridiculous. Like you can like find like there's a couple Reddit stories about them, like just kind of going through like their trials and tribulations. They were like relegated last year, which is like when you get knocked down to the league below you. They like barely made it back in. They've got like a bunch of players who nobody wanted, nobody thought would be any good. Their best player, Jamie Vardy, I think is that right? Yeah, Jamie Vardy was kind of like this scrappy guy who like worked his way up through all like the crappy leagues and is now like got signed by this team who's just like, I just want a chance to play, and now he's like probably the best player in the league. He's like phenomenal. But it's just like this really cool story. I kind of thought I'd bring up. And it like they're arguing that it might be the biggest underdog story in sports history. So that's like bigger than the Miracle on Ice. It's just like kind of crazy.
I wish I knew more about soccer, just because I can't appreciate like 5,000 to 1 odds is one thing, but I can't appreciate like the the meaning of this. Like I just wish I followed soccer more, honestly. Like
a
little busy.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and how the soccer league works is the players aren't traded like as often as they are on like if you're thinking like an NHL. we'll go back to the Stanley Cup. I mean, the NHL at any given year, any team could be a good team depending on how the offseason goes.
Right.
That typically doesn't happen in the English Premier League for soccer, where usually the top teams remain the top teams for a solid amount of time.
Right. Yeah. No, that is a really good point. There's not a lot of like teams breaking through to the top because they like found this up and coming guy. That up and coming guy is usually like signed and given more money by like one of the already established good teams.
Yeah.
So it's extremely rare for a team to like kind of just literally out of nowhere like be the best team in the league. Like it's just ridiculous.
I was gonna say, I don't see. I know this is just stating the obvious. I don't see soccer doing anything here in the States besides getting bigger every year. Like personally, like if I ever have kids, I'm gonna like I don't know. I'm not gonna make sure that they play soccer, but I'm definitely gonna encourage it. Just 'cause it's like I enjoyed playing like American football, but it's like I destroyed my leg doing it.
Right.
And I'm not saying soccer is injury free, but I'd much rather see like my kids playing that as opposed to like football, honestly, for a fall
Speaking
sport.
of like the rise of soccer in the U.S., I think there's just recently been a plan for like a $1 billion investment to make a MLS stadium in Detroit.
Yep.
That would be so cool.
Fucking
That would be
legit.
so cool. That'd be so cool.
There's I know I went on Facebook today and 4 posts in a row on the main feed were all a graphic of Detroit's football team or soccer team.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be starting apparently.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Because they already have like I was talking. I've got a couple buddies down here at school that like are from Detroit and went to Catholic Central, and they're both pretty big soccer fans. And there's like a minor league team in Detroit, I guess, and I guess their fan like they have like one of the best fan bases like in the league. Like their fans are literally crazy.
Let me look it up. Look it up. Are they in the MLS or is it like a
No.
specific minor?
It's like a league below the MLS, I think.
Yeah, I wonder what it's called. Look at Detroit soccer teams.
But I mean, like, so that natural transition from that to having an MLS team, I think would be pretty seamless, and I think that would be an awesome boost for Detroit.
Oh, this is dope as fuck. The Detroit City FC, DCFC, their imagery or heraldry team logo is like this dude holding the sun on like a scarlet background with some golden fleur-de-lises. This is dope as fuck, honestly.
But I mean, like Detroit's got like the new arena, the new hockey arena. They just announced the name today. Like that's getting built. That's supposed to be done by the end of next season. So that's going to be huge. And then you've got like if they're bringing in a new soccer team, like that, like just great things for the city of Detroit. Like just which is exactly what it needs. I know people that are like not from Michigan hear the word Detroit and they're like, oh god, Detroit. Like
they automatically shit on Detroit.
Oh yeah, like same thing here. Like because like at Michigan, it's like we have a ton of people from like other countries, and especially like from what I've seen, like both coasts, like East Coast and West Coast, California mostly. But it's like you go for those classic icebreakers in class, and it's like, hey, where are you from? Like, oh, I'm from about an hour north. I'm from Linden, Michigan. No recognition anywhere. Linden's projected to break 4,000 people this year, I believe. But so you have to go with, I'm from Flint, and it's just like this instant, like 10 or 20, like, just like
absolutely.
This inhalation. They're like, you didn't drink the water, did you? And I'm like, do I look like I drank the water?
I get that
Does it
all
look like
the
it?
time.
Yeah,
like
I don't know what else
all
to
the
do.
time. Yeah, no,
the last
like
meal,
Grand Blanc or whatever. You have to say I'm.
Right.
I had one. So I had a meeting for my job down here, and they it was like all new supervisors or whatever. So you'd like go around and kind of introduce yourself, and then say like where you're from. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm Connor. I'm a fifth year, or gonna be a fifth year from Flint, Michigan. And you get the go Tropics, go Tropics.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, go Tropics, go Tropics.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there definitely has been a lot more recognition for the Flint after the water crisis, which, like you said, has turned into questions like, "Oh, did you drink the water? Are you gonna be okay?" And I'll be okay, but.
Oh man. All right, you guys have anything else about any other sports topics you want to talk about? I know some of us.
No, me. I am full of sports knowledge.
The biggest sports fans in the world. All right, we can kind of move on then. We can move on to, I think we're talking about TV and music next. That's all right with everybody?
Thanks for me.
One kind of thing we were going to touch on, Netflix shows that you watch and you think are really good, but nobody else has watched. I think, does everybody here have Netflix or some access to Netflix?
Yeah.
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 Okay. So it doesn't have to be a Netflix original show. It can be a show that was like not really popular on a cable network and then got put on Netflix and you found it. Does anybody want to start with a show that they watched that they think is awesome that they don't think anybody else has seen?
Has anybody seen the show Continuum?
Never even heard of
I
it.
have not heard of it.
Literally never heard of that.
It's a pretty good show. So it's a sci-fi show which suffers from some of the same whole thing where you don't necessarily have the greatest acting in the world, but if you can excuse that, it's fine.
Right.
Basically, the premise of the show is like it's set like 50 or so years in the future where like the government went bankrupt, so like all the wealthy people ended up just buying it and just running the world themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's like this terrorist group, and like I think the first scene is like you're in this business meeting of all these, super rich people who run the country, and like you're looking out the window and you see like the skyscraper explode, and it turns out it's like this group of terrorists that does it. So all these terrorists like stand trial, but during this trial they're like all standing in a circle, and there's like this huge explosion, and so nobody knows what's going on.
They're all caught.
Yeah, they all got caught for what they were doing. And so there's like this huge explosion during the trial, and nobody knows what's going on. It turns out it wasn't an explosion; it was like a time machine, or like a time travel thing.
Okay.
So the whole plan was that all these terrorists were like planning on getting caught. And they get sent 50 years or like 60 years maybe back in the past, and their whole plan was to actually just change the past rather than try to fix it in the present.
Okay.
And then what happens is like one of the police officers from the future ends up getting caught with them. So the story takes place from the perspective of that police officer trying to track down the terrorists who are trying to stop the future from ever happening. And it switches back and forth between the present and the past, and you can see characters that you meet in the present
and the past being our future and our present, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so like the present being they're like the future, and then the past being like where they went to.
Yeah.
And so like it switches back and forth between like the past and the future, and like you'll see really like you'll meet somebody in the past you don't think is all that significant, and then it'll cut to the future and you'll see this guy who's like the biggest deal ever, and he like says his name, and it's like the person you just met in the past part.
I'm gonna hazard a guess. Let me know if I'm wrong. I'm assuming the police officer from the future, like the guy who's trying to stop them from changing the past, is like a somewhat good guy who thinks he's like protecting the law, but is kind of fighting for the wrong cause from the viewer's standpoint.
Actually, it's kind of the other way around.
Okay.
It's kind of like a devil's advocate situation on both sides. So like at first you think that the terrorists are just like these horrible people because like their methods for doing what they're doing aren't necessarily very sound. They bombed a skyscraper.
They copied 9/11. Tell me if I'm being facetious. Exactly. That's what they did, right?
Basically, yeah. And so like even in the past they're going around like killing people, being morally not the greatest people, but the police officer is actually a good person who starts to kind of realize that the people she was working for weren't the best.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, you kind of see the terrorists shift from their like horrible morals and like the police officer thinking everything she ever worked for was great, and they kind of like shift their positions, but it keeps going. I don't know. It gets really time travel-y, and it's really cool, I think.
Okay.
It's called Continuum.
Continuum, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Is it? But I have to know this going in. Is it all like? Is the show done, or is it like there's gonna be another season?
It is done. So what happened?
Damn it.
Yeah, I was really upset. So
yeah,
when it first came out on Netflix, I'm not sure if they did it season by season.
Is it a Netflix original, or what channel was it?
It's not an original. I think it was on some Canadian channel. I don't know. It takes place in Vancouver, I think.
Okay.
Or some Canadian city. Anyways, when I started watching it, there were 3 seasons, and then I saw like after I finished the last episode, I went on Wikipedia and I noticed the show got canceled. So I was like, shit, that sucks. But what they did, so like it got canceled because it didn't have like enough viewers, but it had enough viewers that enough people were pissed off that it didn't have a conclusion. So what they did is they did like a half season conclusion, and I thought it wrapped up pretty nicely, given the fact that they could only do it in 5-6 episodes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, at least they wrapped it up.
They did a great job with what they had.
That's good to hear.
That's cool.
Well, because I was going to say, speaking of not wrapping a show up very well, there's a lot of shows on Netflix that were supposed to be like filler shows on, stations like ABC and things like that, where you have those shows like Dancing with the Stars that are seasonal.
My
and then
parents fucking love that shit.
Right. Well, and or like The Bachelor's another big one where it'll be a seasonal show, and then there's that 2-month gap where there's nothing in it, and so they'll put in filler shows there.
Oh yeah,
and
okay, I see what
a
you're saying.
lot of those filler shows get transferred over to Netflix. And I don't know if anyone's seen this one, but it was on Netflix. I don't know if it is anymore or not. I watched it a few years ago, but it's called Persons Unknown.
Oh, I've heard
I've heard of
I
it.
think I might have heard of that.
So the idea of it is that the government creates this like town in the middle of nowhere. So just think of like a really tiny downtown, like a hotel, a cafe, like just the bare bones of like your typical small town, and then put that in the middle of like an oasis. There's nothing within miles of it.
Okay.
Like, you're just stuck in the town. And then they end up kidnapping people and putting them in the town. So it's just like this town where there's like, I forget how many people, there's like 8 people that live there. And it's a government-run program, and the idea is that the people in the town live there, and eventually they'll start to kill each other off is the goal behind it.
Oh.
And the last
So it's
person...
like it's a real life game of werewolf citizens and werewolves.
Right. And so they kill each other off, and the idea for the government is that whoever is the last one standing is the strongest of the bunch and moves up in their system to like be an employee.
This is like some pseudo Hunger Games bullshit, right?
It is a little bit Hunger Games-ish.
Yeah.
But the trick is that one of the people that was there, and there was only one season of it, that's why I say they didn't conclude it very well.
Yeah.
There was one season, and the thing was, out of the 8 people, one of the 8 was someone who had been there before, and he was the survivor. And then they put him back into it, which normally I guess they don't do, but he was back in it. And so he was a priest before he got kidnapped and thrown into this like town, but he ended up killing every other person in the town time before.
Okay. Was he a Catholic priest or one of those like crazy Protestant priests?
I have no idea. I don't know. But anyways, but then he was like super sorry about it, so he wanted to be the one that died the second time around.
Oh.
So it like threw in a little bit of a twist, and like you have some sort of like he's guilty about it. So there's like, it's kind of like the devil's advocate thing, like he did that before, but now he's kind of feeling bad about it.
Yeah. But you're saying they're saying they didn't end the show very well.
Well, and anyways, I don't want to like ruin the whole show in case anyone wants to watch it, but it turns out that at the end of it, I won't say who or how many people make it through the simulation, basically.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, they end the series by, that was supposed to be stage 1 of like this decision process of who makes it. And so they end it by people going up an elevator, and the elevator opens, and it's the guy who runs the program outside of the elevator, and he says, "Welcome to stage 2." Which is like perfectly set up for like a next season of like what stage 2 is going to be. Yeah. But that's it. They ended it.
I was gonna say it's sitting at a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. So I'm assuming I'm assuming that ending is really, 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 really.
What did Batman versus Superman get?
I don't know. First of all, did anyone see that? Because I kind of wanted to.
I did not. I had a roommate who was like a superhero nerd who loved it, but at the same time, I heard what was the one review I saw of it?
Oh well, that's sitting at 27%.
27%, yeah.
They said it's amazing because it continues to find new and different ways to disappoint you.
Yeah,
that was one review I saw.
I gave it a quick cursory Google, and the first like news headline I get is, so Batman v Superman actually helped Marvel realize Civil War was the right call.
All right.
Yeah, right. But anyways, the ending.
Wait, Batman v Superman is DC's Iron Man 2, an okay movie that prioritizes shared universe setup over developing a coherent story.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
That's bad.
Yeah, but anyways, I'm assuming such a low ranking largely has to do with the fact that it ended how it ended. And the worst part is the people who made the show, which I don't know who it is offhand, but they said for the people who, I mean, there was like not a huge following. It was just
you're talking about the Persons Unknown again right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
They said for the people who did like the show, they were going to come out with 2 more seasons, and they would just be released on DVD. But they never ended up doing it. So the show is literally 1 season cut off at welcome to stage 2.
If you can't even get a straight to DVD show made, holy shit.
So that was
Okay.
very disappointing. And then the other show, which is a little bit more mainstream, I'm guessing you guys have probably heard of it, is White Collar.
I've heard of
Okay,
it, yeah.
I've actually watched a little bit of White Collar.
White Collar
I
is
think
a
I've watched a couple episodes.
fantastic show the entire way through. And that one actually did finish the seasons. I think there's 6 seasons of it.
I actually have no idea. I only watched it towards the beginning because I watched it when it was it right after? It was right after Burn Notice, wasn't it?
I don't know time-wise what it was.
I think it was on right after, and I watched Burn Notice when it was on USA. And then I think
Yeah.
White Collar was on right after it. So I watched towards the beginning, but then when Burn Notice got really crappy, I just stopped watching USA altogether.
Right, and the idea behind it is it's like one of the FBI's like most wanted criminals who is like a thief. So he wasn't like a murderer or anything like that, but he stole like artwork and things like that. He's like very crafty, and so he joins with the FBI to like catch other criminals.
Right.
So that's all I'm going to say about that one, because that one is actually a finished series, and that one is like highly recommended. That's one of my favorite series that I've watched.
Roy, do you watch
There's
Netflix a lot?
I like not a lot. It sucks. It's like I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of Mad Men, but that's the show I just started watching.
Mad Men's a great show.
I've heard of Mad Men, but I haven't been able to get into it.
Basically, no, this isn't summing up the show at all. But like honestly, it's just fucking depressing because it's like every character on there is, by the 2016 definition, an alcoholic. Like that is how they deal with their problems, alcohol. And it's like every single character goes out on their wives often, and every single wife goes out on their husband often, and it's just fucking depressing, honestly. And it's like I'm like, wow, it's like, did my grandma and grandpa just cheat on each other all the fucking time? I don't know. That's what Mad Men is suggesting, though. That's what they're saying. But super good drama. But yeah.
Okay, all right. So yeah, that's like a little bit more mainstream than the one I'm gonna mention is a Netflix original that just got put on Netflix probably like a month and a half ago. It's
Full House, right?
No. It actually came on the same time as Full House.
Okay,
But no.
okay.
No, God, Fuller House.
Yeah.
But no, it's directed. I think it was produced and starring Will Arnett. So not BoJack Horseman. It's called Flaked.
I've seen this.
It's called Flaked.
I love that show.
Okay.
It's basically just got one season. I think it's like 8 episodes. And it starts out, Will Arnett is like, he lives in, oh God, where does he live? I can't think of what it's called right now.
It's Venice, California.
Venice, thank you. Yeah, Venice, California. Okay. So he's like, he's a recovering alcoholic. It's like the very first scene is like him giving a speech in an AA meeting. He lives with his friend who's also a recovering alcoholic. They like live together. They go to all their meetings or whatever. He like owns like this crappy furniture shop that nobody ever goes to or whatever. And like, the first couple episodes, you're just kind of getting introduced to like the characters and like the scene and like all that kind of stuff. And then like the last couple episodes get really good, and there's like 3 or 4 like pretty ridiculous twists in the show. And
So is it's a drama or is it a comedy or
a little bit of both. There's definitely like some drama
okay.
elements, and there's a lot of like comedic relief and that kind of stuff. It's Will Arnett, so like it's obviously there's going to be some funny parts. But I mean, I don't know. I just kind of like I was like browsing through Netflix and saw it, and I was like, this looks kind of interesting. And I literally watched all episodes in like 3 days or something like that. I think they're like 30 minutes, 35 minutes each. But it was just kind of interesting. It's got like the scenery, because like Venice Beach is beautiful. And it's just like it was. That part of it was really cool. And then the acting for the most part is pretty good. Like obviously Will Arnett's a pretty well-known actor. But it was definitely worth watching if you got nothing else. Like if you're looking for a new show to kind of get into.
Yeah, it was the same for me. I watched the first episode and I wasn't expecting a whole lot because I saw there were only like 8 episodes and I had no idea what the premise was. And then I ended up just kept watching them. I think I finished the whole series in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting, like, at first I thought it was just going to be a comedy, but like I wasn't expecting like the depth to it.
Yeah,
afterwards.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's actually a really good
It
point.
was a really, really good series, especially towards the end.
So you're saying I should watch this over Persons Unknown?
Probably.
Yeah, I would probably recommend.
I don't know what its
Unknown.
Rotten Tomatoes score was, but I'm going to venture a guess that it was more than 22.
Better than 22? Okay.
I'm telling
I'd
you,
even venture more than 27. It's probably better than Batman vs Superman.
It's sitting at 38.
It is
Really?
better than Persons Unknown then.
Wait, what's
Although
sitting
I
at
will
38? What's sitting at 38?
Flaked.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not
Like a
bad.
whopping 16% better than Persons Unknown.
I will say though that the ending of Persons Unknown, like how it all happens and what goes down, is well worth watching through the season.
Okay.
And
Alright.
the fact that it's only one season means even if you get committed to it, it's not going to take up your entire life like some shows.
AK, it'll take up a solid day of lost productivity.
It's not like How I Met
Right.
Your Mother
Right,
Where I
exactly.
watched 9
seriously.
seasons
Yes,
Seriously.
exactly.
in 3 hours.
Which had a probably equally disappointing ending as Persons Unknown.
No, I didn't think it was bad. I mean, it was purely a comedy, so I wasn't expecting like a dramatic ending.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's actually fair.
There's definitely some mixed emotions about it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I laughed at.
Is there anything else? Any other shows that you're like, oh, I gotta tell everybody about this show because
All the other ones I've watched are probably.
I'm actually looking for a show. Okay, that's fair. Okay,
I don't
so
know.
last...
With the time of year, it's hard to get on all these shows when it's right around finals
that's
time. I
true.
try to avoid that.
That's actually a good point. Say, trying to start a new show. I feel like I do this every semester where it's like the week before finals and I'm like, oh, here's this new show. Let's just watch 12 episodes of it in one day instead of studying. And,
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So, so I guess the last thing we can kind of touch on really quickly before we're done, because we're over at like an hour 15 hour right now, worth of talking, which is way longer than I thought we were gonna be able to talk for. Just some I guess news within our group of friends that I guess was announced to everybody yesterday. So one of our friends, Josh, hopefully he doesn't mind us like talking about this, but if he does, oh well. Is expecting a baby in October, which is pretty crazy because I mean I don't know about you guys, but for me it's like I'm like 22 years old. I'm like 6 months away from graduating and like looking for a job, and then you've got Josh who is literally a month older than me, so he's 22, who's graduating like next week, who's looking for a job, getting married, and then expecting a kid. So he's like jumping like 4 steps and like for me like 8 and 10 years down the line, and it's just kind of ridiculous to think that, especially because I grew up with Josh. I've known him since I was in first grade or whatever, and so we've kind of been on like similar paths in life. We went to middle school together in high school, and now we're at the same college or whatever. But then like now it's like we're going like 180 degrees opposite directions of each other.
I mean, I had chicken nuggets and chocolate milk for dinner, so.
That's about how I feel about it too.
Yeah,
I just remember
if that tells you my point in life right now.
Yeah, when he told us that he was engaged, I specifically remember like the week before he announced that, I was thinking in my head like, what's it gonna be like when the first one of my friends gets engaged? And then I immediately discounted that with like, I don't have to worry about that for years. That's not gonna happen. And then it was just like, hey guys, I'm getting engaged. I'm like, oh my god.
Holy fuck.
In the next 10 years, I could only imagine the enjoyment out of the potential number of weddings that we will all be at.
Oh my
God.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna remember any of the toasts I make at any of these weddings.
Implying
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna
be
implying you're gonna be giving toasts.
Shut the fuck
Okay.
up. I'm an orator, an orator. However the fuck you pronounce it.
Orator.
You guys remember Costa at that Burger King, that packed Burger King? He just shouts across the restaurant. He's just completely out of the blue. There was no context for this. And he's just like, hey, Garrett, when I'm the best man at your wedding, handing me the mic to make my speech is going to take more courage than proposing to your wife. And the whole restaurant just started laughing. Like, he doesn't even know us.
I'm tempted to make him my best man just to see what it's like. But I don't think that's why you should make someone.
I was gonna say, if that's the
that's-
reason he's your best man, then I don't.
That's
I don't know,
typically
you
not
should
the
be getting
criteria.
Yeah. Oh jeez.
Speaking of though, that'll be an interesting situation when all of us have to decide on best men.
You know who has it fucking
None
easy?
of you. None of you.
No. Phil has it fucking easy because he can just say like, I have to. It's my brother. He's got to be my best man. and
Well, no,
that's
I've got
totally.
I've got the same. Like, I have Ben. Like that's.
Oh
easy for
yeah,
me.
you're playing
Right,
life on
but-
fucking easy mode right now, dude.
No,
I
but
mean-
I
I mean-
think Chris is more talking like
All of the
groomsmen,
groomsmen too.
like,
Yes,
narrowing,
absolutely.
narrowing it down to like 4, maybe 5. If
No,
you're
fuck
like,
Yeah.
that. I'm
Narrowing
gonna have,
down
like,
the
that's
groomsmen.
because it's like
crazy.
I have you guys, aka the fucking 13 or 14 of us in total on it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I've made like 4 or 5 like really good friends here at college, and so like
they
it's
don't
I'm-
count, dude. They don't count.
no, okay, you're right. And so even if we say you're right, which we are right now, we still have 14 or I'm gonna be sitting here with 14 or 15 groomsmen. I'm not gonna fucking cut it down. I'm gonna marry some billionaire girl because why not? And I'm gonna have 14 groomsmen.
Marry up. There you go.
Yep, Carly Rolls. Where we at, fam?
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh my god.
I probably should
All
have
right.
named this.
No,
one.
for me, picking best man isn't too much of a difficulty, just because Costa already called dibs on it. And then Rory, if he dies, it's you because you called second dibs. If he
I'm
dies,
so good. I already called dibs on Godfather for Josh too.
called-
yeah, you called dibs on the Godfather for Josh's
First of all, I'm
kid.
pretty sure I called this like 10 years ago too.
Oh yeah, no,
Also,
for
this-
sure.
This
I'm sure
fucking
we had this
this-
conversation.
this fucking kid calls me in February and he's telling me how he's proposed to Danielle. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome, dude. And then he has to get his little jab in because we're just shooting the shit. I'm talking about my time to time purchasing of Plan B, and he goes, Dad, we didn't buy Plan B. And I'm like, and I was like, okay, Josh, what's that mean? Oh my god, I know what that means. Holy fuck.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. But yeah,
Oh
so the
my
way
God.
he told me she was pregnant was, yeah, we didn't buy Plan B. We're not like you, Rory. Like, okay, man, okay.
Holy shit.
So I was
Oh,
talking.
Josh.
I was talking to my parents about that, and I was talking to my dad. Dads are the go-to one-on-one conversation.
Oh,
partner
for
this
sure.
shit.
For sure.
And he's saying he was like, yeah, he's like what, 21 or 22? I'm like, yeah, he is. He was like, and he's got a child on the way. I'm like, yeah, and he was like, that's playing with fire, man. He was like, Rory, he was like, I don't care if you play with fire, just bring a good extinguisher. And I was just like, all right,
Big Kev.
all right.
Big Kev. Let's go.
And it was just like,
Oh,
I was
I love
so
Big
cool.
Kev.
I was like, you know what would have been a nice, responsible, like, haha, bonding with dad moment? Like, yeah, dad, I bought condoms. I was really sitting there like, yeah, dad, I totally haven't bought Plan B 3 times in my life.
Holy shit. Oh shit. All right. Anybody have anything else I want to talk about before we wrap up?
No.
This has gone way
No.
over what I thought it was going to.
Pretty much.
All right. So we will. Hopefully, the plan is to do this again next Thursday night. If we'll see who's available, who's not. I know some people have, like stuff they have to do. Some people have finals, whatnot.
Right, I mean, priorities.
Garrett's still in high school, so we
So
might
Dude,
have to go to bed.
how's preschool
Go
going?
to bed early. If nothing else, thank you to everybody who listened, and we will see everybody next week.
Yep.
All right. Anybody have anything else I want to talk about before we wrap up?
No.
This has gone way
No.
over what I thought it was going to.
Pretty much.
All right. So we will. Hopefully, the plan is to do this again next Thursday night. If we'll see who's available, who's not. I know some people have, like stuff they have to do. Some people have finals, whatnot.
Right, I mean, priorities.
Garrett's still in high school, so we
So
might
Dude,
have to go to bed.
how's preschool going?
Go to bed early. If nothing else, thank you to everybody who listened, and we will see everybody next week.
Yep.